My name is Richard Crawford, and I've built my career on representing luxury brands around the world. And in doing so, I've had the privilege of having some truly out-of-the-ordinary experiences. But at what cost? It's getting harder and harder to blindly ignore the impact our extravagant lifestyle is having on the planet and its people. So I've decided to investigate whether there really is a sustainable way to visit the wonders of the world but still have extraordinary luxury. Can I have globe-trotting adventures without leaving a significant footprint? Well, let's find out. And by using the basic principles that define ecotourism, which are minimal impact, sustainability, social responsibility, and of course, let's not forget overall guest experience, I will rate my travels around the planet to see if we really can make a difference. For this trip, I'm staying a little closer to home than usual. Today, I'm off to New Mexico, where I'll be visiting one of the largest private land holdings in the whole of the United States. I'm off to Vermejo Park Ranch, run by Ted Turner Expeditions. Yes, the very same Ted Turner who started CNN. Vermejo plays a very important part in the conservation of a number of species, including bison and Rio Grande cutthroat trout. And not only that, but I hear the scenery is absolutely spectacular. I can't wait to get home on the range and roam with the bison roam. This is one organisation that not only leaves no trace, but is aiming to leave a better one. I've just landed at Denver Airport and I've gotten into my car and I'm heading about 5 hours south through Colorado and into New Mexico. Now, New Mexico is the 47th state and it's the 6th least densely populated. And down there truly was the Wild West. In fact, the Santa Fe Trail ran right through New Mexico. Now, in the mid-19th century, the largest land grant in US history was made there. It was over 2 million acres. It was called the Maxwell Land Grant. And in fact, where I'm heading today was part of that. I'm heading over to see the folks at Ted Turner Expeditions. Now, most people know Ted Turner as a major media mogul, but he's also a huge philanthropist. And until very recently, he was actually the largest private landowner in all of the United States. Now, Ted Turner Expeditions consists of 3 properties in New Mexico: Ladder Ranch, Sierra Grande Lodge and Spa, and where I'm heading to now, Vermejo Park Ranch, which, believe it or not, is 600,000 acres. And to give you a little perspective, that's about the size of Rhode Island. Now, Vermejo Park Ranch is primarily a conservation reservation. However, Ted Turner has introduced quite an extensive guest program, providing 5-star accommodation and some amazing experiences. Now, where this differs a little from some of the stuff we've done in the past is that the organizations we've looked at up to this point have worked diligently to minimize the impact that the tourism has in the environment. Here at Vermejo Park Ranch, they're actually repairing a lot of the damage that was done in the past. Now, this is my first time in New Mexico, and I'm told it's really beautiful, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I've also been told that I can expect all 4 seasons in one day, so they just told me to bring everything that I have in my wardrobe. Well, this is it, quite literally where the pavement ends and the adventures begin. Time to get rugged. Hello. Hey man, how are you?
Welcome. You must be Richard?
I am. You must be Jade.
Jade McBride.
Cool.
Good to have you.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to being here.
Come on in.
Cool. Yeah, I like that jacket, man. That really make me look like a cowboy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It might actually.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. I really like it.
Do you need this jacket?
I want it. Yeah, I think it'll look really good. Can I get it?
You know, Ted Turner Expeditions, like anything is possible.
Oh,
right?
cool. Well, let me try it on. Thank you. You guys quite literally give the shirt off your back, right?
That's how it works.
Now I'm all set. Thank you, Jade. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now you're good. So, Ted Turner Expeditions is a concept that was born about 3 years ago. Ted decided that he needed to protect and preserve his lands forever. And one of the things that he decided to do was introduce Ted Turner Expeditions as a way to bring guests to his property so that we could see and experience the conservation work that's been done. And so today in New Mexico we have just over 1 million acres of Ted's private land that we have now access to share with guests. And here we have all different kinds of guest accommodations. So for example, we have lodge rooms that you can stay at by the room, and then we have guest cottages. So we have 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom guest cottages. So it's really great for families. And then we have these like historic buildings like Casa Grande. It's a 110-year-old stone mansion that's been completely renovated. Do you want to see it?
You bet I do.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Oh, wow. This is absolutely beautiful.
It is so special.
Yeah.
So this was the original home of William Bartlett. He built this home and started construction on this project in 1901.
Wow.
And we have just completed a 4-year renovation process where they went in and their goal was to do everything they could to try to return it back to its original condition. And so there's fun stories about pulling up the carpet, and this beautiful floor was the original floor.
All this
mosaic
is original?
was original.
Wow, incredible.
In fact, all of the flooring on the bottom floor of the house is all original.
Yeah.
It was covered with carpet, and when they were able to pull it up, this is what they had.
And how many, now today, how many people can stay here?
So in Casa Grande, we have 7 guest rooms.
Right.
And would you want to look at one?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to see one,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Oh, wow. This is really impressive. That's very, very period. Is all the furniture the original furniture from
Some
before?
pieces of furniture are original to the house. Other pieces are antique pieces that we brought in to match what was original in the house.
Yeah, and I like to see a nice working fireplace and chimney. That's nice and cozy,
Really
isn't
nice.
it? And look, Mr. Ted Turner himself.
That's him. In fact, this is the room that Ted would stay in when he's here.
Oh, so this probably more like the master suite then, right?
Well, you could call it the master.
Yeah, yeah. Now this is the bathroom. Oh my God, I love it. Look at it. Tile, original, all the original fixings, the original tub, I would imagine, in the vanity, right?
Original sink, original bathtub, original light fixtures.
Wow.
In fact, even the marble on this shower is original to the shower. Sometimes you look at that and you think, nah, that's modern, but it's not. It's original.
Oh wow, this is really neat. I'm assuming that this is an office.
This was William Bartlett's original office.
Yeah, and is this all the original furniture?
It's not the original furniture, but there is a fun story to tell. So inside of this vault, we found photo albums. They're photo albums of pictures that were taken in 1914. And there's actually a picture of this office inside of there. And so during the renovation process, they used those photographs to help us return to the original condition. So, for example, we were able to find an antique desk that was very similar to the original desk that was here in the office. And the furniture arrangement is similar to how it was when William Bartlett had it.
So it's fair to say you get a real sense of what this office actually looked like when
It looks and feels just like it was at the time.
Including this the latest technology in telephones, right?
I know,
right
isn't that
here.
cool?
It's how do you take your picture? How do you take a selfie with this phone?
I don't know. I don't think you can post to Facebook that way. But you can definitely call the doctor. So.
Oh, cool.
By the way, there's a really cool story about these light fixtures. The light fixtures in the house are all original. But one thing that's interesting about them is they had electricity running to them, as you can see, and then there was also a gas outlet so that you could run the light by gas.
Gas and electricity?
Right.
It's a little bit of a recipe for disaster, isn't it?
All in the same fixture.
Wow. Now this, Jade, is an incredible room. Tell me a little bit about this room.
It's really special. This was William Bartlett's living room. There's all kinds of great pieces in here. For example, I love this crystal in these cabinets. They've even got William Bartlett's initials on them.
Now it is quite the space, right? It's a lot of space.
It is large.
Yeah.
William Bartlett was kind of a naturalist. He had the same mission as Ted Turner Expeditions. He wanted to connect people with nature. So he would invite family and friends to come here and experience this place.
You know, the accommodations here at Casa Grande are pretty impressive. And it's not the only option that you have, but the public spaces in here are really cool, and it really feels like you're actually staying in somebody's house and not a hotel. Now, what I really like is that they have this billiard room, you know, Jade. In my day, I was a little bit of a shark. Let's see if I still got it.
Shark.
Yeah, let's see if I still got it. No, I don't. That wasn't even close. Oh well. You've convinced me. I'll take the whole thing.
Well, before you take the whole thing, we need to show you a few of our other accommodations.
It'll be pretty hard to talk, but we'll give it a shot.
We'll try.
Okay. Coming up next, I visit the historic cottages on the property built as a secret getaway for the Hollywood stars in the 1920s. And then I head for the high country. Welcome back to Vermejo Park Ranch in New Mexico, one of the largest private land holdings in the USA. After visiting the spectacular Casa Grande, I'm off to see more of the historic property. Now we've just seen Casa Grande, which was William Bartlett's house, but on the other side of the lodge is Casa Minor, which is actually his son's old house, Norman Bartlett. Now there are living rooms here. This particular room was actually Norman's living room. I mean, it's not often you see a huge hearth and fireplace like that. That's pretty awesome. Now, all of the rooms here actually have 2 beds in them, but my favorite part of this room is this big bay window area where you can look right out there against the mountains and the valley. Welcome to one of the guest houses here on the property, yet another accommodation option at Vermejo Park Ranch. Now, when Bartlett owned the property, it was important for him to have family and guests here to enjoy this place just as much as he did. Now, we looked at Casa Grande and we looked at Casa Minor, but apparently that wasn't enough. So he actually built 5 guest houses on the property. Now, each one today has a specific design to it, and this particular one is a classic 1930s. Now, there's a reason for that. When Bartlett and his sons died in 1920, the property went into an estate. About 7 years later, the owner of the LA Times purchased the property, and he basically turned it into a private club or a haven for the Hollywood celebrities, including Mary Pickford, Douglas Fairbanks, and the original Hollywood cowboy, Will Rogers. Now, each guest house has 2 levels and 5 bedrooms. Now, this particular bedroom in here has a massive super king-size bed, definitely fit for a Hollywood celebrity. And look at this fireplace. It's huge. It takes up half of the room. It doesn't get any cozier than that. And I love the bathrooms. I love the fact that these vanities continue with the 1930s style, that Art Deco look. And this shower, let's be honest, if I was a Hollywood celebrity, I'd want to live here too. As I mentioned earlier, Vermejo encompasses almost 600,000 acres of land, and it offers a vast range of natural landscapes. And these vary significantly as you climb from the lowest point at 5,850 feet right up to Big Castilla Peak, which rises to almost 13,000 feet. In the early 1900s, Bartlett built a lodge to allow his family and friends to enjoy the high country, and sitting at just over 10,000 feet, it certainly is high. Ted Turner built a new lodge in 2010 close to the original property, but this time with all the creature comforts. Now this is absolutely beautiful. Now we're 2,500 feet higher than where we were before, and this is known as the high country. And Bartlett had originally built a lodge up here. Now this is not the original lodge, but it is close by, and I can see why they've built this lodge here, because that view is absolutely incredible. Now the lodge itself is a LEED certified building and was awarded a silver by the Green Building Council. Now all of the materials are local. Most of the wood you see is pine from the forest, and all of the stone was actually quarried right on the ranch. Now all their electricity is provided by their own solar farm. Their water all comes from a natural spring, and the waste management is a closed system. The lodge has 8 rooms and designed to accommodate 16 people. And I think it's pretty safe to say that this dining area is more than adequate, but what an atmosphere it must be here. At the end of the night, everybody around here sharing a meal with a fireplace going and talking about all the stories from a day out in the wilderness. Now the rooms are a little more cosmopolitan than I would ever have expected in such a remote lodge, and every one of them has an ensuite bathroom. Now a nice touch here also is they've commissioned a local artist to handcraft every one of the headboards in here, and each one of them is a different animal. Now I have to say, I do feel just a little bit guilty in such a luxurious setting, but as the sun sets, tomorrow's a big day outdoors, and I'm hoping that will make me just a little more rugged. But until then, I want to get a good night's sleep, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Coming up next, I finally get the chance to show exactly why my nickname is Rugged Ricky. I tried my hand at archery. Well, my friend, you live to see another day. Skeet shooting. What the f is it? Oh. Fly fishing. Oh, that was almost it. Unless that was just a rock. And I even get to earn my spurs as a real cowboy. Well, I get to meet one at least.
Well, yeah, it's been my pleasure, but we'll give you a call when we need help.
How much longer do you think we should wait?
Oh, look, I think we're running late already. Let's just go. Let's go.
All right. Is this his room here?
Yeah, the second one. Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, Richard, we're not letting you off that easy this morning.
No.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Lee. I'll be your guide today.
Hey Lee, how are you, buddy?
Very good.
Good. I'm actually just kidding. I'm actually bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's hit
Except
it.
for one thing. Hold on, if I'm going to get out and be rugged, I got this for a purpose. I got this from Jade.
Oh,
told
yeah,
me it would look really manly. What do you think?
That's a very rugged vest you have there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll come in
Thank
handy.
you, buddy. Not sure I believe you. So, what are we going to get up to?
Well, we've got a lot of activities planned today, but I thought with 600,000 acres, we'd start off on foot. It's one of the best ways to get out and see the property. So.
Not all 600,000 acres.
Well,
right?
no, not
right,
all
good.
of it, but
Good, okay.
we'll start out on foot and go from there.
Fantastic. Cool. I'm ready to go.
All right, we've got your pack.
Then I'm good. I got a pack. I got a vest. We ready?
We're ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, Ricky, I thought the best way to start off this hike today would be with a little bit of breakfast.
Fantastically, I like a good breakfast. Let's go.
All right, well, you know, there's no such thing as a free breakfast.
What do you mean?
It's going to be a little bit of a hike to get there. There's a gazebo up there. It's got a bit of ranch history to it, which I'll get into once we're up there.
When you say a little bit of a hike, what do you mean?
It's roughly a mile up a pretty steep grade, but the view is worth it once we get there.
It better be good, buddy. It better be good.
All right.
Lee, with this much effort, better be fine dining.
We'll see you in a minute. So Richard, we've made it. This is our gazebo.
Oh wow, that's really neat. And look, that's about as sustainable as it gets. It's only made out of logs and twigs and stuff.
Right. William Bartlett actually had it built in the early 1900s, and he would have a string quartet here during the day to serenade the valley and the lodge down below.
No way, so they literally came up here and played.
Yeah, they would play during the day. In the evening, they would travel back down to Casa Grande and entertain.
You know who I feel sorry for is the bass player.
Oh, right. Well, this morning it's just going to serve as your dining room for breakfast.
Fantastic. I deserve a breakfast after that hike.
Richard, this is Allie.
Hey, Allie, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. We have some breakfast prepared for you.
Thank you for setting all this up. And look at this. This is a full-blown breakfast. This is better than anything you get in room service, mainly because that view is incredible. Thanks, Allie. That was an incredible breakfast. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So Ricky, if we look here, you can see We've got a really good vantage point of all the original Bartlett era buildings at headquarters.
Yeah.
If you look, you've got a really good vantage point to see the lay of the land kind of across the ranch,
Yeah.
all the way to the high country.
Right down the valley there. Look, there's a whole herd of bison down there.
Oh yeah, there
That's
they
neat.
go.
That's really neat. So I have to say, Lee, it really is stunning up here.
It is, isn't it? This is, you know, in the high country here in the early fall, it's one of the most beautiful scenic parts of the ranch. You've got the aspens changing colors, elk bugling. But that's one of the great things about the ranch is you've got such a wide variety of ecosystems, from short prairie grass down to the ponderosa forest down low. So you've got a lot of options for hiking.
Now, what in the winter is this all snow?
Up here will be covered completely in snow, so you probably have to go down lower to the ponderosa forest or the prairie.
Wow. Now, what's your favorite part of the ranch to actually hike?
I think we're in it. This is it.
Wow.
Early fall in the high country is hard to beat.
I had discussed earlier the restoration program for the Rio Grande cutthroat trout, and it's not surprising that this place is a really popular destination for fishing. And I've charged Lee here with the very difficult task of making me a master fly fisher in the next 10 minutes. But why are we here fishing, Lee? Why this spot in particular?
Well, personally, this is my favorite area of the ranch. The stream's pretty technical. It's a little tricky to get these fish out.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I think, the most beautiful scenery we have on the ranch for catching trout.
So why don't you give me a little demonstration
All right,
here?
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
this is fun. This is exciting. I think I got this.
Beautiful day for
yeah,
fishing.
yeah. I think a beautiful day for fishing.
All right, we're gonna
So
work
where are you looking at here?
This shaded side of the bank here.
Oh, right.
Just
Okay.
in the shade
Just
there.
about 10 yards in front of us.
Yeah,
there?
I'd wager to guess there's a fish in there.
Well, okay, cool. Lee had obviously done this before, and it wasn't too long before I thought I had the hang of it. But he did make it look easy. So we're just going to let that little fly,
Just let him drift on down
just let
the
him
water.
drift on.
He must have been a good teacher though, because it was only a few minutes before I had my first catch.
Wow, it's so beautiful. Look at that. Look at the color on that. Yeah. No, you know, as exhilarating as it was to catch them, I really want to get them back real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it's all catch and release here, right?
Yes, sir. We
Cool. What a beautiful fish, man.
did the little fella no harm.
I'm starting to feel a little cocky on my technique here. Did I just get lucky?
Well, yeah, you know, beginner's luck. There's
Yeah,
something
there you
to
go.
that. But,
But look, in the spirit of full transparency, I should point out that it actually took me about 2 hours. But hey, it's the magic of television, right?
Considering the history that Vermejo Park Ranch has as a hunting lodge, it kind of makes sense that it has an alternative for those folks who, like me, are not happy about shooting any kind of animal. And so we're here at the sporting clays. Now, give me a little information on what we're going to be doing here.
Sure, this is a game called Five Stand.
Yep.
We've got 6 different throwers and 5 different stations where you get a random configuration of shots. It's fairly challenging, so we'll see how many we can hit.
Okay.
But,
so as with all gun sports, safety is important, and the equipment's a big part of that. So I have my trusty earplugs to make sure I don't blow my eardrums out, and I have my eye protection, and we'll load up the gun. Make sure we're pointing down range, so I don't shoot my my guide by accident. My cameraman Ben is very, very nervous right now and has every right to be. So let's lock that up. Safety off, and pull. Ah! 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 Yep. Whew. That sucks. Watch out, Ben. Ben, step back a little. Watch out. What the f is it? Oh. What is it?
well, I guess one thing we know for sure, the birds will be safe around you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, maybe
Thanks.
we'll go try a little archery.
Sure. Is that easier?
Yeah, we'll find out.
And if it's not, there's always McDonald's, right?
That's right. Well, Ricky, welcome to our archery range. Hopefully we'll have a little better luck here, seeing as these targets are stationary.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Have you ever shot a compound bow before?
Not necessarily, but I watched all of the Hunger Games,
Okay.
so I think I'm pretty much ready to go.
You should be set.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the right conditions.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll have a shot at our target bag here, and then
Okay.
if we want to take it up a notch, we've got a 3D course we can walk through and try that out.
Fantastic. Now, I do need an arrow, don't I?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that'll help.
Thank you, mate. Here we go. Here we go. Now look at that. Katniss Everdeen. Eat your heart out. Hey, or howdy.
Good morning. How are
You
you?
must be Doug.
I am.
Doug, nice to meet you. I'm Richard Crawford.
Richard, pleased to meet you.
Yeah, and I hear you're the original cowboy here.
Yes, sir. I hired on here the fall of 1974 and have been around.
Oh, wow. I bet you've seen a few changes, eh?
Yeah, just one or two.
Yeah, well, look,
Too bad.
I think I'm ready to be a cowboy. What do you think?
All right,
It's all
well,
about the
you gotta
look,
be,
right?
yeah.
It's all about the look. You want to make a cowboy out of me?
Well, it might take a day or two, but we'll try to try. All right.
Let's go.
This horse's name is Leandro.
Leandro.
And so,
Leandro's a female.
no, he's a gelding. All right. I have all geldings on my.
Right, so we're up and in, right?
Yep.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh, that was a little more painless than I thought it would be, considering my experience on a horse.
One of the main rules is to keep one leg on either side of the horse. And if the unimaginable happens and you can't get him stopped, dropping the reins and strangling the saddle horn and screaming "whoa" at the top of your lungs doesn't work.
Okay, it doesn't. Okay. It'll be fun, he said. Let's go horse riding, he said.
All right.
Nothing can happen, he said. Let's give it a shot. So, Doug, you said you've been here since 1974. What was it like back then?
Oh, it was quite a bit like living in the 1800s. Actually, we lived in what we called cow camps in those days.
Yeah.
So we stayed horseback most of the time and rode and worked our cattle.
So it truly was like the Wild West.
Yes.
Even as recent as the 1970s.
Yeah, we made the transition from cattle to buffalo, and that was a big deal, you know, for a lot of the guys. Ted, with his program and everything, wanted all the interior fences out, and so most all the fences on this place are gone these days.
Yeah.
So it's mainly open range. Ted bought and paid for the place. He can do what he wants. You know?
That's about as real as it gets right there. You know, you want a real opinion on something, you ask a cowboy, right? I mean, let's be honest. Well, Doug, I know you've been doing this for decades, my friend. I think it's pretty fair to say that I managed to master that in the few minutes that I was up there.
Well, yeah, it's been my pleasure, but we'll give you a call when we need help.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time and
You
everything.
bet.
Now I'm just going to go ahead and head back to the ranch.
All righty.
Up next, I get to take an in-depth look at both the conservation and eco-rehabilitation programs at the ranch.
Don't worry about them, he said.
And later, I see one of the largest solar farms in the United States. And then, I visit a famous haunted saloon on the Santa Fe Trail.
Well, good morning. Now, they say the early bird catches the worm, but you have to be up even earlier than that to get the sound of the elk. Now, what you're hearing behind me, very haunting, eerie sound, that's actually the bugling of the elk, and they do it for a couple of reasons. The males bugle to, they're very territorial, so they're letting other males know that they're there and stay out of my area. But they're also, it's a mating call. They're trying to call females and It's incredible. It's coming from all around the valley here. It's so crisp and clear, and it just sounds so eerie. It's amazing. The reason that we've come to this property is because of its conservationist credentials. Now, before we get into all of that, let me give you just a little bit of a history lesson. Now, William Bartlett bought the property in the early 1900s, and over the next several decades, the property changed hands many, many times. Now, by the late 1960s, a widow of one of the previous owners sold the land to Pennzoil. Now, Pennzoil did not look after the land at all. They overfished, they overgrazed, they overhunted, and they overmined, hence these big wellheads. Now fast forward about 20 years, and Ted Turner had the opportunity to purchase the property, and as we know, he's a big conservationist. Now unfortunately, as part of the negotiation, Pennzoil still had the rights to mine the natural gas here and the natural resources, and there are actually still about 1,100 of these wellheads all around the property, just to give you a little reminder of its checkered past. Now the good news is that natural resource will actually run out in about 7 years or so, and Pennzoil have been charged by restoring everywhere that these wellheads were. So hopefully in about 7 to 10 years you can come up here and you would never know these big ugly things were here. I'm here with Jeremy Gingrich, who is the Assistant General Manager here on the ranch. Jeremy, how are you, man?
Good to see you, Rick.
Good, thank you. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in this ranch, especially since Ted Turner purchased it in 1996.
You know, on all of Ted's ranches, the mission statement that we have is to manage turtle lands for economic sustainability, environmental sensitivity, and the conservation of native species and habitats. Bison really fit right into that. One of Ted's passions and why he got into owning land was to be able to preserve a species like bison. It's a national mammal. It's really a part of all of our history.
They really are beautiful creatures, but I am a little bit nervous. They are low close, but...
You know, when he purchased it, there was a small herd that had been here since the mid-20th century, and there was only about 100 head here when he purchased it.
And how many are there today?
Right, we've been able to grow the herd to about 1,400 head.
Oh, wow.
They have 500,000 acres of grass to roam on, but every year we harvest a small amount of them, and they go into the market, and some of them end up at Ted's Montana Grill.
So let me get this straight. Ted Turner quite literally created the supply and the demand for bison meat.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Oh, wow. Well, I hate to say this, guys, but I'm actually a little peckish, and I'm going to head over to one of these Ted Turner Montana Grills and try a little bison meat.
Sounds good. Enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you. So here I am. I made it to Ted's Montana Grill, an American chain restaurant specializing in bison. Now, they were established in 2002, and today there are 45 restaurants in 17 states. Now, the concept of the restaurant was established to create a demand for bison, and what's the point of having a supply if you don't have a demand? It was also created to educate the American people on bison, and I tell you what, I'm ready to be educated via a nice big bison burger. Yep. Definitely lots of bison meat on the menu. Now, Ted Turner realized the importance to the survival of the species by educating the public on bison. It's been a very successful program. The restaurants are extremely successful, so much so that other restaurants are actually putting bison on their menus. Now, I think it's important to note too that all of the restaurants are very environmentally friendly, and sometimes it's just the devil in the details, whether it's the paper straws, environmentally friendly bathrooms, or of course the responsible sourcing of the bison. And yeah, hey buddy, yeah, I think I recognize this guy from the ranch.
Back at the ranch, as Jeremy and I drove around, I was surprised to see a fence, when I had been told that when Ted Turner purchased the property, he had removed all the internal fencing. But Jeremy explained to me that this was all part of the riparian restoration project.
So Jeremy, this is one of the regeneration spots down here, is that right?
It is. This is one of the locations on the Bermejo River where we've built an exclosure to keep grazing and browsing animals out, and what that does is allows the riparian vegetation, the willows, the alders, shrubs and forbs and grasses to grow up along the river.
Yeah, now what would happen if that fence hadn't been there for the last couple of years?
It'd be grazed down very shortly. Yeah. There's a lot of animals, and this is one of the most productive areas of the ranch along the rivers, and so it would really be grazed quite short and not have that shade and vegetation we want by the river.
So just not as much vegetation. Is there a chance we can get down there close enough so we can see up close how it really is?
Yep, cool. Look.
Perfect.
So my big question for you is why? Why recover these riverbanks?
Our goal eventually is to get more of this kind of vegetation and get the streams narrower and deeper, and that keeps the water cooler, and so trout actually will have a longer stretch that they can survive in this river. The other thing it does, it actually it provides great habitat for migratory birds and all sorts of wildlife species.
Yeah, and how is the program going?
You know, it's going very well. We have now 10 of these exclosures along the river, and we think probably after about 8 of 10 years, this area will be recovered and we can take down the fences.
Fantastic. It's really good to see that you guys are not just looking to protect the environment, but actually add to its well-being.
It's great. You know, it's part of Ted's vision for Vermejo Park and all the ranches.
Amazing. One of the great things about doing a program like this is you never know what is going to happen next. And as we drove back to HQ, I thought I spotted something in the trees. If you look over my shoulder here, you'll see the bear at the front of the tree line and its little cub, which is a little blonder, just a little further up. And this is the beauty of being somewhere like this, that you actually just come across this. Them in their natural habitat. I'm really excited. I've never seen a bear in the wild before in my life. This is amazing. Vermejo Park Ranch is primarily a conservation project, but Ted Turner wants people to come and enjoy this, and as we've seen, he's introduced a very extensive guest program. Now, as we know, tourists can have a really negative impact on an environment like this, so they've taken several steps here to avoid that. Now, all the power supplied to the ranch comes from a solar farm just south on the property. All the water comes from natural springs that's on a double filtration system. It's filtered one time for general use, and then each building has its own individual filtration system too. Now, all the drinking water comes out of these fountains, and it negates any use of plastic bottles. And up until this point, there's been about 1,923 plastic bottles saved. All of the water in the rooms is put in glass bottles, so that's recyclable. Now, they've also introduced paper straws back into the property, which hasn't really been done in the States since the 1970s. Now, all the trash is very extensively managed. All the trash cans on the property are bear-proof, and all the food that's coming out of the kitchen has to be very carefully managed and taken off property, because that could attract bears, and as we know, a fed bear is a dead bear. And finally, minor details, but all the cleaning products are environmentally friendly. Now, for me, it would be a shame to see all of this environmental protection and environmental rehabilitation go to waste with the attraction of tourists, but fortunately here, they're managing that very well. Next, I head south to see how the Turner organization helps sustainably power over 9,000 homes. And I also find myself in the middle of a good old-fashioned quick draw showdown. My time at the ranch is coming to an end, but before I vamoose from Vermejo, I wanted to take a look at a renewable energy project located at the south end of the property. Now, of course, on a property of this size, this actually translates into a 3-hour trip, and it's so big that the weather actually changes as you drive. And boy, did it change. At Vermejo Park Ranch, it's not just about conservation. They also take their environmental responsibilities seriously. Now, believe it or not, this part of the ranch, which is the most southern part of the ranch, gets about 300 days of sunshine a year. Now, you couldn't tell looking right now. I think I brought the Scottish weather with me. But for that reason, about 7 years ago, they built what at the time was one of the largest solar farms in the country, with 500,000 solar panels, putting out 30 megawatts, which provides clean energy to about 9,000 homes locally. And the ranch also takes all its energy from here, so it's all renewable energy that's being provided up at Vermejo Park Ranch, and it really is quite impressive.
Well, Ricky, for our final stop of the tour today, I've brought you just south of the ranch here to the St. James Hotel in Cimarron, New Mexico.
Yeah, I think I've heard of this place, the St. James Hotel. Isn't that where all the outlaws used to come?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, can we go check it out?
Sure, let's go.
Awesome. In the 1870s, Henry Lambert, President Lincoln's personal chef at the White House, came out here to Cimarron, New Mexico and built the St. James Hotel. Now his vision at the time was to bring fine dining to the Wild West, and that's kind of where it all went pear-shaped. Now the who's who of outlaws have stayed here. Buffalo Bill, Wyatt Earp, Billy the Kid, and Annie Oakley. And you can bet with that many outlaws coming to one place, there was bound to be trouble, and there certainly was. Now you get a real sense of what it must have been like walking down this corridor for those guys to come in and go to their room and spend the night. It really is amazing. One of the most interesting and certainly my favourite room in the hotel is this saloon, and it quite literally is a Wild West saloon. You can see over in the centre of the floor there is the original roulette table, and it even has, as every saloon should have, a piano right there. Now, I have a list here of the original rules of the saloon, and a couple of my favourites I'll read out to you. Gold dust flakes or nuggets also accepted as payment. Fisticuffs to be settled in the street. And finally, all cheaters will be shot. Now, I'm sure we can all agree that those are good rules to live by. Now, speaking of shooting, when they refurbished the hotel in the early 1900s, they actually found over 400 bullet holes in the ceiling. Today, there's about 24 left, and it's kind of a reminder of the 26 people who lost their life being shot right here in this saloon. Now, seeing as I am in a saloon, I think it's time for a drink. Lee, you want a whiskey, my friend?
It's okay, Ricky, I got it.
No, I said I got it, man. I'm good.
It's okay, I got it.
I said I got it.
I got it.
Jade, Lee, thank you so much, guys. It's been incredible. I've really enjoyed my time here. It's been a real eye-opener, seeing everything that you guys are doing and all the conservation. I really hope to get back soon, so I appreciate it.
Richard, we've loved having you.
Thank you.
It's been a really good trip.
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm going to get on the road. Thank you. As sad as I was to be leaving, I have to say that I was very grateful to have been able to experience Vermejo Park Ranch. I was completely awestruck by the scenery. It wasn't a theme park version of Wild. It was actually the real thing. The scale of the ranch was difficult to comprehend, yet there was lots to do within easy reach of accommodation. All that aside, Ted Turner has a long-term vision for the ranch's rehabilitation. Some projects still have 10 years or more to run. It's amazing that so much time, effort and money has been invested in these programs, especially considering it's not something that he has to do. So where does Vermejo Park Ranch sit on the Leave No Trace Equal Scorecard? Well, taking all our criteria into consideration, I am scoring the whole operation a very well-deserved A-. So I've said my goodbyes, and I've been driving already now for about 30 miles, and I'm still on the property, which gives you a sense of how big this place actually is. But there's one more feature that I want to show you just before we leave. Now this is Castle Rock, which is a very unique geological feature right smack bang in the middle of the ranch here. Now, when I came to Vermejo Park Ranch, I was really looking forward to seeing some incredible wildlife and some wonderful nature. What I didn't expect was the commitment and the investment that Ted Turner and his organisation has put in to reclaiming this property. And it's 600,000 acres. That's a pretty big feat. Now what's even more impressive is that Ted Turner doesn't do it as a commercial entity or for good press. He truly has a passion for it. And with success of some of the programs like the
Rio Grande cutthroat trout reintroduction and the bison reintroduction, it really has made a positive impact on the environment. Now normally at the end of these programs I would ask you to leave no trace, but in this instance I'm going to demand that you leave a better trace.